Lynn, stay right there. Let's get to Michelle Lam. She is Greater China Economist at Societe Generale. Michelle, Happy New Year, and thank you for joining us today as we continue to get these readings on China's economy. I take note of the New Year's address from President Xi Jinping. It was the first time that he mentioned economic challenge in this New Year's address. He acknowledged that Chinese businesses are struggling and that job seekers are having trouble finding jobs. So how bad is it on the mainland?
I would say that, unfortunately, if you look at the official data, such as the youth unemployment rate, it has been discontinued. If you look at some of the confidence measures, such as the PBOC quarterly survey, they've also stopped publishing the sentiment surveys on the households recently. So I think it is actually quite hard to gauge what's going on, especially regarding the household sector. But I mean, if you look at the broader economic situation, you look at the industrial production, fixed asset investments, retail sales, I think it is quite clear that growth has started to rebound in the third quarter compared to the second quarter. And we are seeing that the industrial side of things are doing better compared to the household consumption. And but I think overall, even though with some improvement that we've seen in the data in the second half of last year, I would say that China is still on a pretty fragile recovery, most importantly because of what's going on in the property sector still.
As we talk about President Xi Jinping in his New Year remarks, he also talked about reunification with Taiwan and that it was inevitable. We've been hearing in recent days from Chinese officials as well that Taiwan residents are being urged to make the right choice between peace and war as we head into the election in Taiwan come January the 13th. That is next Saturday. With this, how is investor sentiment on the island? As we head into the election day, the polling day, what do you make of it?
I think based on what we are seeing from the opinion poll so far, it seems quite the most likely result is that we'll have a DPP victory by the current Vice President William Light. And but I think market have probably sort of like predicted this kind of a situation. And I think what people should focus on is the result of the legislative yuan outcome. And I think it is quite likely that we may have split parliament, or in a situation that the DPP probably is having a smaller share of seats compared to the last time. And I think that would also mean that it is more difficult for the DPP to carry on some kind of results against China.
Hey, Michelle, it's Lynn joining in on the conversation. I just wanted to circle back to the services PMI that we got today and the private gauge versus the official gauge. There is a bit of a disparity in terms of the numbers. What do you put it down to in terms of the sample sizes? Is it that, you know, in terms of tourism and hospitality related service providers, they're more of the private sort of smaller firms and therefore are in the Taixing survey more than the official survey?
I think that's quite likely the case. And also, as I understand it, the Caixin also the sample is more skewed to some companies along the coastal areas, which mean that probably in terms of the traveling, there's probably have more support from the traveling season around the turn of the year. But broadly speaking, I would say that if you look at the month-on-month movements in December for both the official and the Caixin PMIs, they do show that the services activity are doing better, and rather, I think if you look at the manufacturing sector instead, they are actually showing diverging developments. So I would say that overall, it is still the conclusion that the services should still be a better driver for the economic situation, at least maybe around for the turn of the year, and especially that would be the case, I think, around the Chinese New Year as well.